Hello, BookTube. Welcome back to the History Shelf. I am your host, Peg. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to do a little something different. We're moving away from books to look at magazines. I had a fun little, I had an appointment. I had a haircut. And on the way home from the haircut, I was passing by Barnes Noble, and I am a Barnes Noble member. And sometimes I like to visit their newsstand. Plus, there was a magazine that I had seen there 2 weeks ago. And it was one of the issues of my Strategy and Tactics magazine that I had missed when I was renewing my subscription. I missed an issue, and it was the November-December issue. So I thought, let me just swing by in there and pick it up so that my collection is, up to date. So I went there. And plus I get 10% off. As a Barnes Noble member, I get 10% off everything, books, magazines, games, whatever. So I decided, let's go browse the newsstand. So I'm looking for Strategy and Tactics magazine. And unfortunately, they have already pulled the November-December issue. So I might have to order that special from the publisher because that's an issue I want. So anyway, but they had the January, February one, which I already have because I'm subscribed. So, but in the meantime, I'm browsing some of the other magazines, and some of them I'll show you the ones I've got. I picked up 4. Okay. I picked up 4, and one of these I bought just because the cover, well, not just because of the cover. You can technically get this free online. You can read the PDF of this journal for free. But it's the Hoover Digest. It's the publication of the Hoover Institute at Stanford University. So yeah, I don't know why I paid $15. Well, minus the 10%, right? This was, this came up as $13.50. Okay. I love the cover. Look at this. I love this artwork. Sorry for the glare. Isn't this cool? Yeah, this was and it's the subtitle of Hoover Digest is Research plus Commentary on Public Policy. And this is the fall 2024 issue. $15, but you can basically read this entire thing for free as a PDF at their website. But I like physical. I'm just not an e-reader, folks. I mean, I have to for some of my book reviews, but I prefer that. I prefer the smell of freshly printed pages. But I knew that I wanted to read a lot of the articles in here as well. We've got interviews in here with Victor Davis Hanson. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Glenn Lowry, love him. I listen to his podcast frequently. And then Douglas Murray. So, yeah, we've got sections here on the economy, Israel and the Middle East, China and Taiwan, Russia and Ukraine, defense, technology, environment. And then they chose this cover, which is so cool. And on the cover, I'll read to you what it is. Artist Michael Ramus commissioned to portray one of the U.S. Army's, quote, 239 kinds of jobs for women, end quote, during World War II, picked a woman repairing a radio in this 1944 poster kept in the Hoover archives. Similar posters depicted women as cartographers, photographers, weather observers, nurses, and in many other roles, but not combat. As in the Great War, women's work was vital, but, as a prophetic observer remarked in World War I, for them, there is small hope of medals and citations and glittering homecoming parades. Very true, very true. And then there's a further story. You see the story on page 216, which is, then they do it on the back, which talks about on the cover. And it gives you a further history of that. There's lots of cool articles and interviews in here. Oh, excellent. We've got an article in here by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. I've been following her for years. Subversion, submission. Anyway, I've had a subscription to Hoover Digest ages ago. And when I learned that the journal is now free, I don't know why they do that. They offer it free on the PDF, and then they also go to the expense of printing one. But then there's suckers like me out there that'll buy it because I love physical copies, and that is just really dope. So I'll be enjoying that. I want to make some time on my vacation, which starts next Tuesday. I'll be taking off the last 2 weeks of the year, pretty much. I want to make some headway into all my magazines that are piling up. I've got City Journal here. I've got National Affairs. Oh, this is a new one that just came in. Christian History. This is an older issue of Harper. I've got a ton of Harper's Harper's is a new subscription for me. So I'm still getting my my hands around, what kind of flavor, what quality of writing they have. But I want to catch up on these because I am behind. And then I've got another Christian History over here. So yeah, no, I've got a stack, as you can see. In addition to like my book review quarterlies, or not quarterlies, weeklies, I've got TLS. I've got a lot of those to make my way through. And then I want to come back to this one. Proceedings. They've got a really fantastic article that I'm grappling with about China and their Navy, because it's a concern. And by the way, does anyone know? Because apparently our government doesn't know about these drones flying around New Jersey and scaring the bejesus out of people. No source of comfort from the FBI. No one knows what they are. Right. Come on, what is happening, folks? What is happening in our world, in our country? But let's see. There was a really cool article I wanted to dig into, but there's also one on China and Taiwan. So there's really important global geopolitical things happening, and I want to be as on top of it as I can be. So that's where all these magazines come from. Then I've got my usual commentary and magazine. And then the last time I was at Barnes Noble, I picked up The Atlantic because I really want to keep and read this article by David Brooks about higher education, the universities, and because I've heard it's pretty powerful stuff. Plus, they have some interesting articles in here, just on different things. And the Atlantic, this is the December issue, so you should be able to still pick it up if you're interested. I've got commentary, National Review, First Things. I've got a lot of different journals. But anyway, so then now I picked up more, right? It's just what I do. So Hoover Digest, I picked that up at the store. And this one, I'm aware of this one as well. I haven't ever subscribed to it, but I noticed that it looks like a new redesign of this magazine. And there's some really cool articles in here. So I thought I'd take a chance, and I picked up the American Scholar. This is the autumn 2024 issue. Yeah, it definitely is a redesign. They never had this kind of border on the edge, horizontal one that kind of tells you what's in the issue. But anyway, and I should mention, so this one was $15, the Hoover Digest. So this one was this is the cheapest of the bunch, I think. I had it right in front of me. $10, $9.95, right? But let me show you a couple of the articles that I'm really excited to read. The first one that jumped out at me was this article about Henry David Thoreau. Well, I have done a lot of reading about David Thoreau and Henry David Thoreau recently, in the last few years. I read a massive biography on him. Then I started reading a bunch of historical fiction novels based around the Transcendentalists, and Thoreau was always popping up. I've read some really good books that were more like artsy, kind of like literary ones. I think Follow the Lark. Is it Follow the Lark or something? It was a recent book about him. Anyway, they talked about, when you think of Henry David Thoreau, you think of Walden, you think of all that nature. But did you know what the Thoreaus... They had their own, business. It was a thriving business. Do you remember what it was? Do you know what it was? They made pencils. Such a fascinating thing. And Henry David Thoreau would spend time working for their company, making pencils. And guess what? They have an article on it. And I said, "Oh, I've got to get this magazine if it's just for this article alone." Thoreau's pencils. How might a newly discovered connection to slavery change our understanding of an abolitionist hero and his writing? And that's by Augustine Sedgwick. So I can't wait to read this. Because they did. They created pencils. Another article that I can't wait to dig into. The photographs alone told me I have to get this. For a time in my 20s, I was really intrigued with Paris and the left bank and all the writers who went there, especially among the women, expatriates and artists and, writers, sculptors, dancers, whatever. And anyway, I'm really familiar with a lot of the women from that time period. I've read a ton of books. But they got this article here, Reborn in the City of Lights. At a time when Paris was an incubator of modernism, a group of bold American women arrived to make art out of their lives. And some of the women in here, obviously we've got Josephine Baker. This is Bernice Abbott. So these photographs are great. But then we got Sylvia Beach, who owned obviously the famous bookstore in Paris. This is Janet Flanner. So this is Sylvia Beach. That's Janet Flanner. Let's see. We got some paintings in here, self-portraits. So I mean, this looks really cool. Let's see here. Oh yes, Natalie with violin. This is Natalie Barney or Barney. They hosted all these salons. Some of the women were like openly gay, but I mean, it was all a fluid thing at the time. In the name of art, probably. So yeah, American Scholar. Definitely a brand new look. Excited to read about Thoreau's pencils. All right. For $10, I said, yeah, let's do this. And we got some book reviews in the back. I always love reading book reviews. I'm always trying to improve my craft and to learn from other people's, writings and how they approach the art of reviewing. So let's see here. Other than that, I'm not too familiar with the American Scholar, but this one looked really good, so I picked it up. Now, let's get to the two that are brand new to me. And I took a chance on one. Listen, I want to show you guys that I read from both sides. So, I have never heard of this magazine, and I don't know how good the quality of writing is, but wow, it is a smorgasbord of very different things. And it looks like it hasn't been around for very long, because this one says issue number 8. So obviously this is quite new. This is the fall 2024 issue of New Lines. Just a really eclectic articles across the board. A lot of them have like history tied into them. The one that really jumped out at me that I wanted to engage with here is this one. Restoring Rome's Forgotten Millennium. And it's looking at a new book on the Byzantine Empire and how it shows how far it was distorted to serve an idea of Western continuity. So that's intriguing, right? And then there were some others here. It's almost, I don't say National Geographic. I mean, they got one on archaeology, an article on archaeology, the heart of Stone Age Britain. So, I mean, it's a mixture of like current events, politics, history. This one is focusing on Europe, the ugly side of nation building. So I'm just really, I'm like, let me check this out. This is a different magazine. This one really is intriguing. The global rise of narco-Pentecostalism. Gangsters and sometimes pastors are using evangelical Christian networks and beliefs to stamp their authority on illicit trades from Brazil to Nigeria and beyond. Now look at this hairy chest. Gross. But isn't that a provocative title of the article and the pictures? I'm really intrigued. So I'm gonna have to report back on what I think about the the magazine, but if I like it, I might subscribe. So we've got a focus on France in here, how Argentina's disappeared, it took center stage in Paris. So it's just a really interesting mix of things we've got going on here. Well, look at this one. This is what I'm talking about. They're just so wildly disconnected, but I love it. A Russian priest in Kyrgyzstan has a parish with no followers, and that's the article. Isn't that interesting? I don't know. And this one costs $12.99. Again, it's the first time I've seen it at the Barnes Noble bookstand, so I'm intrigued, and I want to check it out. And plus I just love the fall illustrations and artwork, and what a lovely theme. They kept it throughout the magazine, so there you go. I've made you aware of it. In case you're interested, ask for it at a bookstand or a newsstand near you. Okay, so here's the one I'm like, what? Well, first of all, it's the thickness, the heaviness of this magazine. And I knew by the name, I'm like, okay. At first, I'm like, there's no way I'm buying this magazine. And then I started reading the article titles and some of the copy just while I'm standing there at the newsstand. And I'm like, you know what? I do want to read this. I want to see what these people are thinking. Well, this is called the Jacobin. Okay. The subtitle of the, or whatever it is, the tagline for the magazine is Reason in Revolt. Okay. All about Trump here, Trumponomics, but there's more. They even they have an article on the author, Michelle Houellebecq, right? Let me just dig into this a little bit with you. So you're probably wondering, well, because I was like, what's the angle on this journal? Like, where are they coming from? What's their position? So you always go to the beginning pages, and you will usually find a statement in the opening pages about the magazine or journal you're looking at and how they're writing and what they're coming from. So this says Jacobin is a leading voice of the American left, offering socialist perspectives on politics, economics, and culture. And it's quarterly. So first I'm like, oh, I'm not reading this. I'm not reading socialist magazines, right? But I'm like, you know what? There's some stuff in here that I'm like really intrigued by. And I like the layout. The layout is interesting. Look at how, I don't know if you can tell how these lines here, they do that throughout, where the lines kind of go a little, you see how it's offset a bit, a little diagonal action on both pages. It's wild. And then the text is huge. The print copy, I mean, that is big text right here is what I'm talking about. It's really big. Anyway, and I have that book, so I want to read this review when the clock broke. How many pages we have in here? Well, I guess that's why it's this was $14.95. Oh, I should say, yeah, I got it for $13.45 because that 10% off, that helps when you're buying magazines. Because I went up to the cash register holding 4 of these, and I'm like, how much is this going to run me, even with the discounts? Well, it was about $50. But anyway, they have articles in here I'm interested in. Like, I kind of want to understand where the other side, because you got both sides, and I'm not playing with either one. But I like to learn what the issues are from both viewpoints. And this one looked interesting. The rise of was this the one? The rise of a new right? No, that's not it. Anyway, so they kind of are looking like at Trumponomics and economics, and I don't know. I'm just trying to get ready for whatever's going to happen. Let's see. I don't think I'll buy another one of these, but I'm saying I wanted to give it a try. But who knows? I mean, I haven't read through it yet. Oh, they have lots of info. You know what? Sorry. When I look at different things, my day job, I work in marketing. So I'm always looking and learning from how other people do their things and like infographics and stuff like that. Look at this. Look at this infographic. So if anything else, I'm getting ideas about, potential ways of showing information for my job. Look at this. This is kind of cool. Um, and then we've got an article on the Colombian killing fields. I mean, there's a lot going on in here. Let's see. Oh. Oh, this one I found intriguing. This is called The Right Without Wrong. For decades, liberals have hoped for the de-Christianization of the American right. It's not all it's cracked up to be. So I wanted to read that on the state of just here's the Michelle Wilbeck article, The Unhappy Oracle. Michelle Wilbeck's chronicles of modern discontent have made him one of the most renowned writers of the century, as well as a far-right prophet. Yet liberalism's fiercest critic still hasn't found his alternative future. So, I mean, there were a couple of articles that I definitely wanted to read. I wanted to read this. What kind of economic policy could we expect from a second Trump term? I really want to read that and see where they're coming from, this side of the argument or whatever. So, yeah. And it's a big, thick thing because there's 150. Is it really 150 pages in Jacobin? So, it's a new one for me. Oh, I kind of like that spine with the J. Number 55. So, they've been around for a little bit, obviously. So I just thought I'd kind of show you what I picked up at the Barnes Noble Newsstand and say how much I can't wait to carve out some time on my vacation to not only read books, but I really want to read my magazines. There's some really good stuff out there. So there you have that. And then also I wanted to mention when I'm writing, this is something new for me. I've had what do you call it? Just a product person reach out to me about. I get things a lot from folks in my email box saying, partner with us on this product if you kind of talk about it, and a lot of them are like things that just do not relate to my channel, and there's just no way I'm going to do it. Only if it has anything to do with what I do. I'm a writer. I'm a book reviewer. Things like that. Well, these folks from Bastion Bolt Action Pens reached out to me and said, we'd love for you to try out our product and then just talk about it with your viewers and see if they might be interested. Only if you like it. Well, I did. I did like it very much. So I'm just going to... And I'm offering, now I'm not offering, but they're offering in below in our my description box, there's a code where you can get 20% off on these really cool pens. So they sent it to me and it comes in a box like this. It's Bastion. High quality materials, innovative design, and superior craftsmanship. Like, these are not cheap pens, folks. Write your own story, which I really liked. I'm like, yes. So I'm always handwriting my notes. Typically, if you want a little inside baseball, when I'm reading my books for review, my physical books, I keep notes inside the books, whether like in an oversized index card, I will keep writing notes. But this is this beautiful pen that they sent me. Now here's the bolt action. So you see this. Look at that. I kind of like it. It's really sturdy. Now this is what do you call it? It's not a gel pen. It's just your standard ballpoint, just blue, like black ink. I didn't have a fancy setup where I could have an aerial camera to kind of show you how it writes, but it writes very well. And it has a heaviness to it. Typically, I'm a black ink girl all the way. When I'm writing, I don't use pastels or anything. I love black ink is my thing. So usually I'm kind of writing with like one of these guys. But look at this though. I mean, it's just like, this is pretty fancy. So with my small hand, it actually is it has more weight to it. So if you have bigger hands, you might enjoy this. I can write with this, but with my little hands, it would probably be for just certain things, but it works really well. And it's like, they have different colors, and they sent me a refill as well. So thank you for that. Yeah, book review notes. There's an example. I use this pen for that. And for those of you who don't recognize this weird way of writing on the screen, that's called cursive. I'm sorry. I just had to do it because I just feel like I've read stories where kids today don't even know, they're not taught cursive writing. Like, that's cursive. So I kind of wrote down as an example the book I'm reading right now, Lincoln's Peace. And I could start writing my notes through here. And of course, when I go to write the review, then I refer to my notes and the page numbers, and that's where I keep everything. But this is a really nice pen. I really highly recommend it if you like fancy pens, if you're like me, a pen fanatic. I've got tons of different pens, and I'm always trying new pens. So feels good. The barrel, like I said, a nice hefty weight to it. And then that satisfying feeling of, you just hit it down and it goes over by itself. It's just a bolt action, baby. And I love the color. Ooh, kind of matching today. So there you have it. There's a special code down in the description box. I've linked it. You can get 20% off from any of the Bastion bolt action pens. And I believe they run around $39.99. This is the seafoam color. But again, for those of you who enjoy writing, not just typing, on the computer, but writing itself, which I do, and I still write cursive because I do feel like it's a dying art form. But yeah, I'm happy to add this Bastion bolt action pen to my my inventory of really high quality, pens. So anyway. I've never done this before, so I'm not a pro at talking about products, but I can say that this one is all that it's cracked up to be because I've been using it since they sent it to me. Again, write your own story. Bastion bolt action pens, they're really cool. All right, guys, so there you have it. This was a different type of video. We got some magazines. We had just talking about some of my reading plans for my break. And when we talked about pens, and just know that I would not tell you if this was a piece of junk, I would not even put this on this channel. I tried this pen out. It's all it's cracked up to be. And I want you to know that you can get 20% off if you're really into it and you want it. Use the code below. But yeah, I'm only going to talk about good things on this channel that have to do with my craft. If it relates to books, writing, whatever, in any form or fashion, and if there's an interesting opportunity that comes along with products and promoting them on this channel, I will, but only if there's a code that gives you guys a discount. That's the only time I'm going to do it. So just know that this is not like a new thing on my channel. I'm not going to be doing this all the time. Only when it comes up, and only if it has to do with things that I use, tools that I use in book reviewing. So thanks for listening. And anyway, let me know what you think of some of these magazines and your thoughts if you've read some of these before. I'd love to know it, especially like Jacobin and New Lines. They're totally new to me. Anyway, let me know what you think. And hey, if you do, and if you already have a Bastion bolt action pen, let me know too. But until next time, BookTube, thanks for joining me here at the History Shelf. As you can see, it's dark out now. So it's 5 o'clock and it's dark, 5:15 or something. Crazy. Crazy. All right, guys. So until next time, I'll see you back here at the History Shelf. Be safe and be well. Bye bye.